Hey friends, welcome to another reading lesson. We are still going to be talking about our book, Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon, and we're going to talk about sequencing and retelling and putting things in order. So we know that stories have characters, stories have settings, and stories have a plot. That's what's happening in the story, and it's in a very specific order. So why... you can pause the video if you want time to discuss, but why is it so important when we retell a story that we put the events in order, that we sequence them in the right order? Why is that important? Why is it important when we retell to give all of the details of the story, to give every single detail that we can remember about those events? And then why is it important to sequence things in real life? Like if I was telling you how to do something, why is it important to have it sequenced, to have it in the right order? So for example, if I was telling you how to bake cookies, and the first thing I tell you is put the cookies in the oven, you're going to be like, wait a second. How do you make the cookies? I don't even know how to make the cookies. If the first thing I tell you is to stir all the ingredients together, and you're like, but I didn't even put any ingredients in a bowl. I don't even know what to use. So it's very important when you're retelling or telling a story or telling someone how to do something that you put the events or the things that need to be done in order, in a sequence, in the right order. So when you're retelling, make sure that you're including those characters, you're including the setting, and then you're including all of the events in the right order and with as many details as you possibly can. So if you want to practice with a retell, you can practice with this book, Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon. A lot of you yesterday had to retell the story of Stella Luna, and most of you did a really awesome job. Just a couple of things. Parents, remember that when you're typing their responses, make sure that you're typing exactly what your child says. I know it's tempting to add all these fancy words or fix grammar, things like that, but I want you to let them talk to you and just type exactly what they say. So that I get a feel of what they really understand. If they miss a part, that's okay. I need to know what they know. Okay, I know it's so tempting to be like, oh, wait a second, you forgot this part. Remember this part? And then type it in for them. Don't do that. Let them retell and you type what they say. So let's talk about how to figure out the meaning of words if we don't know the word. Authors use context clues. Those are other words that are going to be in the text, and authors and illustrators use the picture to go along with the author to help you figure out the meaning of words that you may not know. So I'm going to pull my... it shakes. Okay, so on this page, we read, Molly Lou Mellon was often fumble-fingered. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, believe in yourself and the world will believe in you too. So if I was reading that or listening to that and I was like, fumble-fingered, what does that even mean? Fumble-fingered? I have no idea what that means. So I'm going to use the illustrations first. I'm going to use the pictures first. So over here on this page, I see a tall stack of watery, soapy dishes that she must have been washing. And remember how short she is. She's so little and she's trying to carry all of these dishes in a stack. And it looks like she's about to step in a water puddle. And then on the next page, she's kind of in a mess. It looks like she slipped and she fell. Dishes went everywhere and she's looking like, uh-oh. So I could probably infer, that means kind of making a guess based on evidence, I could infer that fumble-fingered probably means something close to clumsy. So I used those illustrations to figure out that word or those words that I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what that phrase meant, fumble-fingered, so I can look at those pictures and help me decide. Okay, so remember with a retell, characters, setting, in order, sequence the events in order in every single detail that you can remember when we retell, and we retell the beginning, middle, and end that way. A couple of things about our Edmentum lesson today It says in there that there's some questions about the toad and frog. There are 3 questions. And it says discuss these questions with your learning guide, which is what I want students to do. I want you to discuss the answers to those questions with your learning guide. But then it says to write them in your ELA journal. You don't have to write them down as long as you're having good discussion and good back and forth conversation about those questions. It also asks you to retell the story, and it says to write down 6 events in order. I don't want you to do that. I want you to just talk about the events, discuss the events, but I do want you to practice writing at least one event, write about at least one thing that happened, just so you can get that writing practice in. If you want to write all 6, if you want to write that many things, go for it. I'm not going to stop you, but I'm just saying I'm not expecting you to write down the answers to those questions or to write down 6 events from the story. If you don't want to write all of them, but you do want to draw pictures of the events and label the pictures, you can do that too, as long as you're having those good discussions with your learning guide about those questions and about the retell. And then the 2 phonics sections you can skip, because one of them is about high frequency words, and we do that in reading group. And then the other one is about stretching out words when you're writing. And we've already had a lesson about that. Our students already know that when you get to a word that you don't know how to spell, you write the sound you hear. So you can skip the 2 phonics sections, and then where it says to write the answers to the questions and to write down the 6 events, you don't have to do that part, but I do want you to write down one event or the answer to one of those questions to get that writing practice in for today.